Gotta take some sips to get me ready to go, you know. That's the stuff right there. It's Clutch here from SoDak Motorcycle Blog. Happy New Year. We are now in 2021, so yay! Excitement, whatever. Anyways, wait for 2020. Hopefully 2021 is better. And for those of you that were following last summer, I did my first iron butt run, did a SaddleSore 1000. Well, this year we're going to ante it up a little bit. We're going to do a BunBurner 1500. And as part of that process, I'm going to take you through how to get yourself ready for it. Now this is part one. As you notice, I'm just in the garage. I'm not around a motorcycle. I'm not working on it. I'm not doing anything. This is because this is probably the biggest, most important part of the process, and this is your self-assessment. I am an IBA member, Iron Butt Association. I earned it in May of 2020. I'm going to put my IBA number here because I forgot to put it on my little slideshow job aid. So once again, as you come to expect from the SoDak Motorcycle Blog, only in most expert preparation and getting ready for this thing. So anyways, lowest level amateurism, that is one of the things we pride ourselves on here. Anyways, it's earned in May of 2020, SaddleSore 1000. And for those of you that remember, I went down to Nebraska, picked up a pull-behind motorcycle trailer, and brought it back. If you want to see those videos, it's a two-parter, so we got all this for a trailer part one, which is going to be in the card up here. And then we're going to go ahead and put part two up there as well. If you've not seen either one, make sure you check out one, then two, because honestly, you don't want to see how it finishes without seeing the beginning. Now, granted, spoiler alert, yeah, I earned it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you here. I wouldn't have this number or any of that. But now, this series, it's meant for beginners. If you're someone out there that's done this probably numerous times, honestly, I'm not really kind of going towards you as my audience. Now, feel free, if you're experienced, to go ahead and comment. And we've had some pretty good luck with some of the videos I did last year about it. A lot of comments from people, a lot of tips, a lot of pointers. And actually, a lot of that's going to get incorporated into this. And the other reason one reason I'm doing this is because you may just need a little nudge to do it. My example, for years, I've been wanting to do this for years and years and years. And I created a whole bunch of stupid things in my mind that I thought had to be done. Like, well, first of all, I thought I had to do it with somebody. So I spent years and years trying to find somebody that I trusted enough to ride with for 1,000 miles. And frankly, I never did really find it. So, you know, there was that was holding me back. A lot of it was my mind. And part of this is kind of maybe you need just that little nudge to do it. So, like I said, this is part one. Now going back to what the Iron Butt Association is, it's an association of long distance riders. That's basically what they are. It's earned by completed one long distance ride. For the most part, it's the SaddleSore 1000, which is 1,000 miles in 24 hours, or the BunBurner 1500, which is 1,500 miles in 36 hours. Those are probably the two easiest ones to get. And for the most part, they have so many other ones. I mean, obviously, you want to go check out their website for what they have. But for the most part, when you're a beginner, you don't have a lot of them open to you because you kind of got to prove that you can do the basics before you can get to the next level. Like I said, there's many theme rides out there. There's all kinds of rides, from interstate rides to border to let's go back and forth across the country like 5 times. I mean, they got all kinds of crazy stuff. Let's start talking about this self-assessment. So, first question you want to ask yourself is, what's the furthest you've rode? Just sit there, think about it, and with this, make sure you're doing an honest assessment. So, to me, I think you should have at least maybe one 500-mile day or like a 12-hour riding day you've done before. Or if you've done a ton of 400 miles a day, something like that. Somewhere if you've gone, 10, 12 hours in a day at least, maybe 500 miles, 400 miles. Depending on where you're at, you're not going to be able to get that in a day in some places. For example, riding around up and down the hills, you're not going to get that far around the hills in a day, especially if you're riding through the central hills. The speed limits are slower. There's a little more there's a lot of traffic here in the summertime anyway. So it's pretty easy to eat up 12 hours riding around the hills, and you may have maybe 250, 300 miles for the whole day. So keep that in mind. The biggest thing that you shouldn't be counting is if you ride 12 hours in a day, but maybe you put on 50 miles because you rode 10, let's say you went to Road Point, rode 5 miles, stopped for 2 hours, ate breakfast, rode another 10 miles, had a beer at the bar for 2 hours, rode another 10 miles, had another beer. If you've done that, there should be legitimate saddle time for this 10 to 12 hours. Another part of this too, if you haven't done either of that, but if you've done like a week-long trip of 2,000 miles or more, okay, you're probably able to do this. Either way, you've got to have some experience with doing some longer riding before. That's all there is to it. If you've done if 100 miles in a day is a long ride for you, then maybe you should reconsider. Equipment. Now, I'm not saying you can do this on any motorcycle. You can do it on a moped. The biggest thing is, can your motorcycle get you 1,000 miles in a day? Now, you got to be really honest with yourself on this. Do you trust that motorcycle to get you 1,000 miles? If you can answer that question without even thinking, then you're good. For my example, I had a Goldwing 1800 when I was thinking about it, and let's be honest, I got a bike that's good. It's a late model Goldwing, I'm good to go. Or a later model Goldwing made after 2000, I'm good. If you have a brand new bike, of course it's going to get you 1,000 miles a day. If it's within 10 years old, yes, it's going to get you there. The biggest thing you want to remember here is this. If you have a motorcycle that only gets you 100 miles before you got to stop and wrench on it for 3 hours, that's probably not the bike you want for this. Because remember this, with the iron butt ride, it pays to move. Anytime you're not moving that motorcycle, you are killing daylight and you are making the chances of you getting this run completed a lot harder. So make sure you got something that's reliable. Here's another part of this. Are you flexible? And by flexible, I don't mean, oh, I can stretch and touch my toes and all that. Ooh, nice little skin shot for you. No, what I'm talking about is flexible. Are you flexible in your scheduling? Can you, let's say you get up to a spot and the bridge is out and you can't drive around it. You gotta sit there and figure out your detour. Can you do that? Do you have the ability to stop, think about it for a second, get yourself squared back away, and get it done? Are you okay with, hey, a thunderstorm come out and now I gotta sit here at this gas station for 2 hours and that's just how it is? Are you flexible to that? Are you okay with sometimes things don't go right? Because let's be honest, on this run, something is going to happen. Something's going to be weird. Something odd's going to happen. I know my first one, the first stop where I went to get my first receipt for the start, it would not print a receipt. It said the receipt, the cashier had it inside. Unfortunately, the place was closed and there was no one there. So honestly, I wasn't going to do any B&E for a receipt, so I had to go down the road to another gas station and get a receipt. I managed to. But if something like that happens to you, or let's say you're at a place you can't get a receipt, there's no secondary receipt nearby, but hey, you know what? There's an ATM nearby. You can think a little bit outside the box, but you have that ability to quickly change your intentions in a hurry to get yourself going. That's another thing you're going to need to be able to do. If you're one of them where everything's got to be 100% right all the time, and if things don't go right, you can't function, you might want to set this one out. Do you have any mechanical ability? And no, I'm not talking doing a complete rebuild on the engine. I'm talking about, can you make a minor wiring repair? Let's say if a light bulb goes out. Can you change the light bulb? Can you change your headlights out? Especially your headlights. Can you change them out? You're probably going to spend some time in the dark, so you're going to be able to know how to do that. Do you have the ability to plug a tire? Maybe that's not necessarily 100% necessary, but if you have a plug kit, you got the ability to make any quick repair on the fly. It's something you want to do. Now, if you change your oil on your motorcycle regularly and don't have issues, you probably got that ability. If you're one of those that basically, doesn't know anything about your motorcycle, well, you might want to think about trying to learn that, or at least riding in a place where you're going to have the ability to get it worked on in a hurry. That's probably another thing to keep in mind. But I would say having just a little bit of mechanical ability is going to bode very well for you on one of these runs. The last part of self-assessment, do you have, or are you willing to get proper riding gear? And remember, this ride, this is not a short day ride. This is, you're going 1,000 miles. Chances are you're going 500 miles out and 500 miles back. And the weather can change a lot over that kind of ride. Just think about the last ride day you had where you rode 400 miles. Think about how much the weather changed in that day. Now we're making this 1,000 miles, especially if you're going 1,000 miles in one direction. If you're doing the I-25 run from Buffalo, Wyoming down to Las Cruces, New Mexico, well, that's 1,000 miles, and that's there's a lot of weather changes in that 1,000 miles. You go from northern Wyoming, where it can be chilly even in the summertime, to, well, if it's in the middle of summer and you're in Las Cruces, it's gonna be quite hot for you. So, think of that, because, like I said, this is not a short day ride. A jeans and a t-shirt will not cut it. It will not cut it. It just won't cut it. Like, you're gonna want some kind of riding gear, or if you're wearing jeans, maybe have some chaps or something. But let's face it, a simple jeans and t-shirt probably isn't going to cut it for this run. It just won't. So obviously you want to have a decent coat, maybe decent size riding pants, or some chaps you can wear. I'm not even going to talk about the helmet, because to me, I think you should be wearing it, period. And this isn't a video about helmets. But anyways, another thing to think about is the effective road noise. If you're riding 1,000 miles a day, that's a lot of road noise to deal with. If you're one of those that doesn't ride with earplugs, it might be a thought, maybe get a set of earplugs, especially if you got something you can hear from 50 miles away. You're definitely going to want a set of earplugs for that, because 1,000 miles and let's say 14, 15 hours worth of riding on it, you're going to get really sick of that noise after a while. And that was one thing. It was really nice when I did my run, even though I had a Goldwing. And yes, I do have an intercom in it, and yes, I do run music through it, but honestly, once you throw them earplugs in, it just makes it a whole better ride, because you don't have to listen to that blasted road noise or that wind noise. That wind's going to take it out on you. You want to be able to stay warm, so buy warm gear if you don't have it. If you just have a light jacket and that's it, maybe find a jacket that can keep you warm, or maybe make sure you're taking plenty of layers of clothes with you. This was pointed out to me when I did my iron butt steps my iron butt tip for success run last year after I did it. That I didn't even talk anything about making sure you have proper gear to keep you warm, because once again, the weather's going to change on you. Let's reverse the I-25 run. You're starting in Las Cruces and it's April. There's a good chance it's going to be really, really cold by the time you get to Buffalo, Wyoming. And not to mention, you're going to have to go through Colorado too, which, it can get pretty cold in Colorado on I-25 in April as well. So keep that in mind. I would definitely suggest, if you do have a helmet, maybe have like a 3/4 helmet or a full face helmet, or a modular helmet, just something to keep the wind off you as well, because just like, having to listen to the wind, getting beat in the face with the wind is also kind of a pain. I'd say if you got a windshield, you probably don't have to worry about that as much. But it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have some kind of way to keep the wind off your face. Another thing I would say you should probably get, and this isn't really gear, but this is an app, but you want to get probably some kind of a tracking app, like either get the actual spot tracker itself, which costs much money, or if this is your first run, maybe get an app. Get some kind of app that goes either, there's a few of the sites out there. What I use is well, let me look. I use BunBurner GPS. That's the one I use. And it reports to a website called Spotwalla. It's a third-party tracking app, and it basically just tracks where you are in the world, and it's a great backup for your run. Let's say you can't get a receipt somewhere. Well, at least you got that map to show you, hey, this is where you're at in the world. But it's called BunBurner GPS on Android. I don't know what it's called on iPhone. I'll probably maybe make a little note down here what it's called on iPhone. But get that app. You don't actually have to pay for it. The free one, it's limited features, but it'll kind of do the basics of what you want it to do. If you want to get full featured, I think it's a one-time payment of $10 for the Android app, which for me, I figured it was money well spent, and also I use it for other runs that I do throughout the year. It's a good way to track everything, and it keeps kind of your loved ones posted of what's going on. And your loved ones, when you go on this run, are going to appreciate it that you give them a link where they can kind of check in and say, oh, hey, they're right here. So they're good to go. They're safe. So those are some things as far as the gear. Like I say, if you don't have that gear, be willing to get it and get it before you go on the run. That is it. That's everything for the assess part of this. So we got a few more parts of it. In part 2, we're going to go over the planning part of it. Part 3, we're going to go over preparing for the run. Part 4, we're going to talk about actually doing the run. And part 5, we're going to talk about what you need to do after the run. So stay tuned here to the SoDak Motorcycle Blog to keep up with this series. And if you haven't already subscribed to the SoDak Motorcycle Blog, please take your time. Please do it. If not, if you aren't convinced yet, you know what, feel free. Click down, go back to the main page, or click back to where the video shows on the top half of your phone. Click on the SoDak Motorcycle Blog link. Take a look at a few more of the videos that we've got there. And like I said, please subscribe. Please support the channel. If you know anybody that's thinking about an iron butt run, heck, feel free to share this video with them. Additionally, you'll see little links on my videos now where you're going to see where it says buy me a coffee. You can click that link and you can make a one-time quick donation. I think it's like $3 that goes to basically the SoDak Motorcycle Blog. So if you like what you're seeing, if you're liking what we're seeing, maybe you want to give a little more support than just a like and a share, hey, feel free to give a few bucks. Anyways, once again, I'm Clutch from the SoDak Motorcycle Blog. Keep the rubber side down and enjoy the ride. Thank you.